episode 3. Got Chris V with us. Welcome.
What's going on?
Let me ask you just something very basic just to start it off with. How long have you been here in the Tampa area? Do you think this is like a final spot for you, or
Yeah.
would you even consider going somewhere else?
Tampa's home. I'll have homes in different places, but Tampa will always be home.
So tell me, what is it that you do as your business? Like what brings you here and keeps you here in Tampa?
Entrepreneur. So my main focus, I have a tech startup right now. I've built some other tech companies. Got a new project called Fit Social events for the fitness community.
Oh, okay, I think it's
So yeah, I have a lot of different projects, but my main focus is my startup right now. I do side stuff. I do some event stuff with Tampa entrepreneurs, some stuff we talked about before.
Can you tell me how long you have been a true entrepreneur? Like, when do you say that your journey actually started?
So, I was in the Marine Corps when I was young, and I got out because I wanted to start a business. And then I started different companies super early on, back in like 2005, 2006. Didn't do well with those. Got regular jobs, 9-to-5s. And then I would say probably in like 2010, 2011, maybe earlier than that, is the last time, maybe actually 2007 was the last time I had a regular job. And I've done everything from concerts and tours with major hip hop artists, used to produce their tours. I started an e-cigarette company when e-cigarettes first came out. I was number 1 on eBay for like 2 years until they changed regulation. I've started virtual reality companies. I've had a lot of different unrelated businesses.
Say hand in every different pot. Okay.
I see opportunities.
So what made you stick to, you said you have a startup now.
Mm-hmm.
What made you say, okay, this is one venture that I want to go into?
Well, I started a tech company and was successful with it, and was in that field for probably about 7 years. And I saw an opportunity that nobody was addressing, and I found a solution for it, and I went all in on it because it's something that I think that could do really well. I could have a really large exit and change an entire industry with that.
So, not related to work or what you do, what do you like to do just to kind of relax, hang out when you do have that downtime? Or do you have downtime?
I do have downtime. I mean, here's the thing. I create my reality, right? So therefore, I create the time and the space for the things that I enjoy. Mm-hmm. I realize that most of the time that does not include relaxing. I do mentor a lot of different people. Okay. I help a lot of different businesses. I do a lot of charitable work. I have nonprofits. So I can't just sit still and do nothing and sit idle. I have to have my time consumed with creating, right? So I'm a big creator, and whether that is in the nonprofit space or tech or helping other people, I just feel like my time's got to be consumed creating something.
Okay. What gives you that joy, that getaway moment? What do you do?
If I'm gonna have any alone time, we'll call it, it is time with my golden doodle. I give so much energy to so many different people, and I help a lot of people. I find that my time to recharge my energy is really time spent with my dog.
Okay.
And that's what makes me feel full again.
How long have you had him?
6 years.
Name?
Her name is Luna, and she's a giant golden doodle that I thought was supposed to be a mini, and is not a mini. She's like 75 pounds.
Maybe she grew with the love you gave.
You know what I say? God gave her a heart so big that he had put a big dog around it.
Exactly. See?
Yeah, exactly. Plus, you can't give her the big hugs, right? That's what makes so special. Is you give them the big hugs.
Bear hugs.
Yeah,
Just imagine you had to.
Yeah.
She was a miniature.
Apparently, it's called a cuteness aggression thing. I found this on TikTok. Learned a lot of things on TikTok, by the way. It's where I learned all my information on business.
I'm gonna say, isn't how everything shows up on
Yeah.
TikTok?
No, but apparently it's like if they're so cute, you want to squeeze them. And if they're so big, then you can get that out. So you learned that.
You say you like to mentor a lot of people. Do you pick and choose who you mentor, or is it kind of just you're open for all?
Yes
How's
and
that
no.
process?
The people that I mentor, it depends on them, right? A lot of people ask me questions, and I answer the questions, which is fine. They have to be willing and they have to be ready to hear the answers, right? Because sometimes you ask a question and they don't take accountability, and they want to justify where they're at, as opposed to really trying to solve that problem. So the people that I find I spend more time with are the people that take that information and go to the next level. Perfect example is Eric Bosworth. I know Eric from a while ago, he would reach out to me and ask me questions on business when he first started his insurance company, and I would just help him out and answer the same way I do with everybody else. And it wasn't until later on, when we were friends, that he was in my publicist's office. We had the same publicist, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Chris and so are my business mentors." I'm like, "I am?" And he's like, "Dude," he's like, "all the information you gave me, it's how I built my companies, all the stuff you told me about, I implemented." And I was like, "Wow, I didn't know that." And from that point on, I was more intentional. Go, okay, here, well, let me help you out. Here's the gaps you have in your company. Here's some of the things you're overlooking. Here's how you can scale these different sections.
What made you want to actually be that piece to help those that are either up and coming or struggling in their current business? Like, what in your mind or your personality said, okay, I want to be the one to actually extend that?
I never thought consciously that I want to be the one.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that, hey, I can help this person, right? I don't choose per se who I'm mentoring. It comes down to, are they ready to listen, to learn, and their energy. If they're just a good person and they need some help, I'm willing to help them. If they implement some more, I'm willing to give them some more information. And I find myself spending more and more time with people that I just want people to win.
Right.
And I had some great mentors along the way. I probably spent about a couple $100,000 on mentors from mentorships, from masterminds, different courses and stuff. I don't necessarily choose who I mentor, just really who I feel called to speak with. Most people that I talk to, I don't know anything about their business,
okay,
but I get these feelings. Okay, I see opportunities in their business and what they're not doing. I get to those root causes. I give them those answers and stuff. And everyone's different, right? Everyone has different problems.
Right.
I'm just able to see opportunities that most people can't.
What is one thing that people don't ask you as far as your passion and what you have to offer that you wish more people would inquire about?
It's not about me. I don't care about myself as much. I feel like when people ask me questions, first off, don't ask me if you can ask me a question, just ask me a question. And two, get to the root of what really is that one thing that can help you move the needle in your business, and just reach out and ask that question, and I'll give you an answer.
I hear you got a new tech startup that you're kind of passionate in right now. Can you give us a little bit more information? Just what you can, not
Sure.
too deep.
No, it's an interesting thing. We just finished development, so I'm excited about this. I've had other tech companies in the apartment space, and if you're familiar with how apartments get rented or toured, basically a leasing agent gives somebody a tour of an apartment complex when you first go there, right? Well, I found that there's a big shortage of leasing staff, one, and then two, they're trying to reduce leasing staff overall because each one gets paid a decent salary, stuff like that. But they also want a warm welcome, right? They want somebody to welcome you to the property, greet you to the property when taking a tour. So a friend of mine is very high up at one of the biggest companies, and he was telling me about some of the problems they had and that they were trying to reduce leasing staff and stuff. So I thought about it and I came up with an idea, and I was like, what if I created a mobile app that allowed residents to give property tours instead of leasing agents? So it's like the Uber for apartment tours. So instead of just going there and a leasing agent takes you around, you get a tour from a resident. So it's a peer recommendation. They get to show you around the place. And then if you sign a lease, they get a referral bonus.
Okay, so you get that true first-person perspective because they're already there.
Exactly. You get a real representation of the community. They can tell you, real stuff like, okay, hey, it's actually really cool about this. And they can connect you with friends. They don't work for the property, so they're not limited by the Fair Housing Act and some other things that leasing agents, let's be real, when you go on a tour with the leasing agent, you really don't want to tell them you got this dog, and other things and stuff like that. Like, they're the enemy, But if it's another resident, they can become your first friend of the property. It helps build community.
Okay. And I know that you do, like, you're mentoring and help up-and-coming entrepreneurs to either build or to expand on what they're already doing. What do you look for, or what stands out to you when someone reaches out to you as far as mentorship?
Well, I don't do anything in an official capacity per se.
Okay.
I don't offer any courses or any programs. If somebody wants to book my time per se, right now I'm not at the point where I'm trading time for money. Really comes down to, so all the people that I do mentor, I don't really charge them for anything unless they have a service that I could really use and it's helpful, beneficial. But really, I don't charge anyone anything. But it really comes down to, I answer questions. Any question that comes to me, if I can, provide value, I will. And then it really comes down to the individuals, if they're passionate, if they have a good idea, if they're open to listening, right? Then I'll spend more time with them, and if they implement what I say, then I'll spend more time with them and help them out. And I really like seeing people win,
Okay.
so that's why I do it.
So you mentioned your lovable dog earlier. What made you choose that? Like that dog? Was
That dog,
like that breed, that particular dog? Was it?
I didn't. So here's the story. I was in a relationship,
Mhm.
and my ex just rehomed her dog, right? Because her dog needed more space to run, and so she rehomed her dog, and I was like, cool. Well, I got a dog. We have a little min pin. And then after a month, we moved in together, and after about a month, she's like, oh, I want a dog. I want a dog. I want a dog. So she researched all the different breeds, and she came up with a golden doodle, and she did all the research, and she bought the dog, and she came home with the dog, and she told me on the phone, I was like, oh, it's a mini. And as soon as I saw that dog, she had giant paws. Like, this is not a mini, right? But as soon as I saw the dog, I fell in love with it, and then we were together for about 3 years, had the dog the entire time, and then once we broke up, I was like, okay, if you want to take care of the dog, and she mentioned that she didn't really want to have that responsibility. And I was like, all right, well, I'll take care of the dog. It's my dog too. Like, I'll take care of it. And she's been the best thing ever since. And I'm so grateful for that.
You got that companionship. You got your big dog. Now you don't have to worry about crushing her with your hugs.
That dog is love and gratitude in physical form. She never wants to be a bad girl. She's always wants to be good and has the most love. And I've actually thought, I was like, you know what? When I find my partner, I want her to have the same energy as my dog. That when I come home, she runs in my arms, can't wait to see me. Even though it's bad dog training, they say. Um, but I want somebody that runs in my arms and gives me that love and that
Yeah.
companionship and that is grateful to see me. And that's what she does. And it's so great to have that kind of companion in life.
So speaking of that, you want that someone to run to you to show that gratitude, that expression of happiness to see you. What do you say that your definition of happiness would be?
Well, I believe happiness is a perspective. And if you're looking for happiness, you'll never find it because it's not outside, it's inside of you. So happiness is a choice. You can choose to be happy. Um, so I choose to be happy every day, right? So, when I find a partner and stuff like that, they're never going to make me happy. You have to make yourself happy first. You want a partner that complements you, not completes you. So yeah, I'm happy no matter what I'm doing. I'm grateful no matter what I'm doing, no matter where I'm at. I'm grateful for the experiences that I have. Even if they may be perceived as bad, I'm
Mm-hmm.
grateful for having that experience.
It really explains, like you said, true happiness is from within. You can't look outward for someone to make you happy, or someone or something.
And they say the thief of joy is comparison, right? And I genuinely believe that, and it's comparison to other people, comparison to the past,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you compare to other things, your house can always be too small compared to something else, or
Right.
never have enough happiness or enough money. If you compare to something, then yes, you can always look at a negative. But in the same regard, you can always choose the other perspective. You can look at it and go, I'm so grateful that I have this. I'm grateful that I live here. I get to experience these things. And that's where you find true happiness.
Okay, you speak of perspective a lot. So how how would you kind of coach someone into viewing other perspectives, like when they come to you for help or mentorship, and you trying to pivot their perspective on their whole situation? Is there something in particular that you try to help pivot, or?
There's no specific techniques or methods or anything. It really comes down to I've done a lot of work on myself, spirituality and everything like that, and I'm able to see things from a higher perspective, meaning that when you're in the mix and you're in those problems and stuff like that, you have tunnel vision and you can only see one outcome, or it has to be this way, or it has to
Right.
be that way. And if you're able to take a step back, not look at it from fear or lack or scarcity, and see other opportunities, you see it from a different perspective. You say, you know what, it may not have to be this way. And that's what I'm really good at, is seeing it like, why does it have to be this? You've created that definition for yourself that this is what success looks like. It has to be this way. And I just show them as like, what if it was this way? What if it was that way?
Is one thing that you would like to leave us with, one piece of knowledge, or just an inkling of who you are or what you?
Let's see. I would say there's so much
more to this reality than most people realize, right? And if you believe in manifestation, do you believe in manifestation?
Yes.
Okay. So if you believe in manifestation, that means you believe your thoughts can change this reality. And if your thoughts can change this reality, if you get better at that, you can change it more. Then this becomes a video game with cheat codes. The better you get at manifesting, the easier things you can change. You can create a life however you want. So once you realize this reality is not what we were taught, this is not just a physical reality. This is, a video game, a simulation, if you call it, right? That our thoughts create our realities. Once you realize that, you can create whatever reality you want. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Today we had a great day with Jessica.
Got a little bit of everything going on.
Come
here.
back for episode 4.
Thank you again for sitting with us, Chris. Thank you for dropping the gems on us, giving us things to look for, things to work on, and hope to have you.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
At least we didn't spend this.
Yeah, I know, right?